Before we get started, those of you who have not yet subscribed to my channel, please do so. Also, please turn your notification bell on so that you'll know each time I upload a new video. The first thing that I'm going to do today, I am going to do her outfit, which I'm going to use this white piece of fabric to make off the shoulder blouse. So I'm just going to glue here, take the fabric, and glue it to the image. So now that we have finished with her outfit and her jewelry for now, until we place her on the canvas, which is a 18 by 24 canvas. And like I said, I had one of my fluid art piece that I did on this canvas so that it'll serve as the background for my diva. So we're going to work on her hair. And today, I choose to do her hair with yarn because I wanted to look more of an Afro type. I think her Afro looks really great on her. And I want her to have a style that's close enough to the style that she has right now. Okay, so I am going to be using yarn like I mentioned before. And when using the yarn, I'm going to just make sure that the beginning part of the yarn is kind of like twisted. And then when I make my dot of glue, I want it to be as close to the hairline as possible. I am going to cut this down, the hair down after we are finished. But for now, all I'm doing is just adding the hair like so to the canvas, to the image of the diva. So I'm just going to go up her hairline and trying to get the yarn as close to each other as possible. And because I want to have like a neat look, I'm going to make sure that the glue, make sure you clean off your glue gun and just make a tiny dot where you want the hair to be placed. You give it a few minutes or a few seconds to cool off, and then you may like pat it into place just because you want it to be as close to the image as possible. At this point, don't worry too much about glue marks because that will be corrected at the end. So I'm just going to keep going to up the sidelines of her hair and adding some glue and then the yarn. Waiting a few seconds, and then I'm going to just apply a little pressure. I'm going to show you what it looks like in a minute to make sure that yours would look this way when it's time for you to do yours, to try this style. Okay, I'm just going to add a little pressure, and that way it wouldn't come undone and it would have the neatness. So this is what it looks like. Make it look like she has some locks. I like that look. And I'm thinking about cutting it at the end, but we'll see because I think I like the lock look. And again, I'm just going to keep going up. This usually goes pretty quickly if you have the yarn pre-cut ahead of time. That way you don't have to start and stop to cut and then to glue. So I suggest that you pre-cut So I wanted to take a minute so that you could see how far I've gotten with the yarn placement on the diva's head. And as you can see that her afro is starting to come into play. Like, look what the difference the yarn makes. And so we're going to continue. So I'm going to continue with putting the yarn on the diva's head. And just so that you could see that I'm working quickly. And all I'm doing is just a dab of glue, hot glue, and then taking the strand of yarn that I've pre-cut, and then I'm just putting it in the area that I want. Making sure that they are close enough to each other. So I'm just going to keep going. And when I come to her hairline, I will show you what I usually do to prevent the glue from showing. All right, so this is what we have so far. I wanted to show you how when I get around the edges, what I do for the hairstyle and for applying the yarn. So what I do is, I'm going to bring it real close. And I take smaller, make sure that your glue gun tip is like really, really clean. Because if it's not, then there will be glue all over. And this is the part that's really delicate that you don't want to have glue marks around. So I make sure that I clean my glue gun really well so that when I touch down, I won't have to have like glue all over the place. So here we go. So I just do a little dab of glue for each spot. And then I take the I take the piece of yarn and I make sure that I apply pressure a couple seconds after. And I do the same thing, making sure that my glue gun is clean. And then I just, sometimes what I do, if I see some glue that's like seeping under the yarn, the strand of yarn, I just go ahead and apply another one in the same area to make sure that I have the glue covered. Now, you may have something like this where you see like glue spots. I'm going to take some more yarn and then just to apply just a little tiny tip of glue. And then to cover that area. So, like this. Can you see it? Make sure that you cover that area. So I'm just going to continue. Just a little dab of glue in each of the areas on her hairline. And sometimes you may have to cut. Sometimes you could also use like paint to cover up that area. So don't stress too much about it, because that's what the yarn is for, to cover up these areas. So I'm just going to clip like some, press after a couple seconds. And I will continue until I get all the hairline done. And you can't see any glue marks. If you do see some glue marks, you can put some more yarn over that area to get rid of the glue marks. And that way you don't have to use paint or anything else. You just use yarn. Wait a couple seconds and then apply pressure. And that's it. So I just have a little section right in this area that I need to cover up. So I'm going to make sure that my glue gun tip is clean. And put a little bit of yarn. And then you are done. I'm going to show you what it looks like where you don't have any glue marks. You can't see any glue marks. And that's, as you get better, you will notice that you see less and less of the glue marks. All right. So here she is now. All the yarn is in. There's some places that I need to cut, like pieces of the yarn. I'll check it out now. And then we are going to cut. I'm going to show you how I cut her hair in the style that I want. So now that her hair is done, I am going to, because I want her to maintain the afro that she had in the original picture. And so what I'm going to do is I am just going to cut this down just a little bit. And I'm going to show you how I do the cut before we put her on the canvas. We are going to change her lip color up. I want it to look natural, but I also want to give her a little bit of color. And I will show you how to do that in a minute. So let's do the cutting of her hair. I want to keep it like the length of it, like right in the middle part. I want it to be cut down and cut even. So all I'm doing as if I'm doing a chop in the hair salon, putting the hair in between my fingers, and then I'm going to do it to cut, just to make sure that all the hair is even. So I'm not cutting like a whole lot, but just pretty much even in out the ones that are not the same length. Just like you would in a hair salon. Just making sure that everything is even. That's all I'm doing. Because I still wanted to maintain her afro. So, want to make sure all of it is even. So I'm just going to keep going. And that's how I get all her hair to be the same length. And then I just go back around and then this helps me to see where I need to, if I need to add any more hair. This is what she's looking like. And I just keep going like I did the last side, making sure I'm just evening up everything. Evening out her cut. She can still have her afro, but I'm just see, and just going back over and making sure that all of it is even. Then I just continue turn her around a little bit. And then I'm going to just make sure everything is even. Please also be careful with the scissors. You don't want to clip your finger or anything else. It's not a good feel. All right, so I just need to finish up this side. As I get around to the sides, I want to make sure and this is what is helpful right now is to make sure that none of the hair, if anything is not glued properly, you want to, this is the time that you're going to check to make sure that everything is glued. And just by simply pulling out, pulling, you will get an idea of what is like one of those shag rugs where after you finish, you get to see if there's anything that may not have been glued properly. You could cut it or fill in the spot. So because I want to have her with some big earrings, I'm just going to cut down the sides just a little bit more. So this is what she looks like with her new haircut. So I'm going to clean her up and cut down this side a little bit because I want you to be able to see her earrings. Just cut down the sides a little bit.